Why, hello there. Hey, we're back. It's like the latest we've ever done tea, but we wanted to get y'all updated in the last couple days, and tea's just not as sporadic anymore because we just have such short days and not a lot of content. But to leave it to BBH18 to make day 24 spicy as all can be, and we are here to talk about literally fresh fucking tea. This might be the last tea until the weekend, honestly. So sorry, but this will probably be the last tea until Saturday, just because we're reaching a point where there's just not much to talk about. So, joining me, two members from production. Love them both dearly. In order of how much I love them. First up is Max Teddy.
No, and that's correct. Yeah, final 6 round, it's spicy, but not for the reason you think it would be. Like, it's all of this for what? For what?
Literally so much anger, so much frustration for what? We're at the final fucking 6. But whatever. And love him dearly, my fellow host of Subversion. He is the host of Subversion, but I'm just fellow prod. It's Lee Farrow.
I'm for all of this, I'm wishing you a week full of content that you're going to have to morning tea every day until the weekend.
At this rate, we'll have to do it every day because they find something new to manufacture.
Yeah, I think, but similar to Carl, I've been updating that "what the fuck are they doing" thing, and it's really hard these past few days because I really try to talk about it as what are they doing? This person's probably going to be safe, and I have no idea now. No, I would have never predicted this would have happened. Necessarily the boot, yes, but this happening in the way that it's happened, no. So here we are.
I would not have predicted this boot, to be completely honest with you, under pretty much any circumstances. I don't think I would have seen this one coming because I thought for sure it would be Preston or Foser based off of who won HOH. That's just,
Well, Gabby did nominate Madison twice, right?
Well, I knew she'd be up on the block. I just thought no way in hell they would vote Gabby out here. But again, the circumstances that we got to hear, I understand why she's being evicted here. But, asked me 2 days ago, I never would have thought Gabby would be evicted.
And there was an alternative universe where Preston wins the veto, and none of those 3 were going at all. So
right.
we were holding on to that for a few moments today. So,
but that would require Preston to win a comp. So
it would indeed require Preston to win something, and I am rooting for him to win something. But
anything.
Let's get to kind of so we have 3 days to cover. So we left off on live night. So day 22 is the day off of the Super Bowl. Day 23 is mostly an off day because they don't compete until fucking 11 p.m. Eastern. And then day 24 is today, which is Nom's veto ceremony and eviction. So we got a lot to cover. But we leave live night, and per usual, Michael is losing his mind a bit because he doesn't really know what to do with himself because he's still doubting his decision as to did he make the right decision in booting Ashley.
He even said that in his goodbye message to Ashley, and it's and if you're Ashley, you're just why would you say that to me in your goodbye message? It just happened.
Yeah, it feels really crappy.
I think especially if you're crafting up what your jury game is going to look like, the last thing a juror wants to hear is that you regret something. Yes, your ego wants to know, oh my God, I'm so happy that you think you made a mistake getting rid of me. But it's you got rid of me and you're already regretting it. Why did you get rid of me?
Right afterwards. And
Ugh. It's not a great thing to hear as a juror.
No, definitely not. But I mean, he's going through all the emotions. I mean, he feels like he feels like he fucked up his relationship with Foser. He feels like him and Lauren are still strained as all can be. He's going through all the emotions right now, and he's trying to figure out what the game move is for him. How does he rebound and get out of here? I mean, Foser is telling him, "We're fine." I went back on my word at the first live night, and you said we were good. I'm hoping that I'm telling you that we're good. Like trying to show the same reciprocity that Michael gave Foser at the end of the first live night.
Which we'll get into it, but like a little sneak peek, like if he was really worried that he had fucked up his relationship with Foser, I think there's no doubt about that now. So
yeah.
And I don't know, Foser. I feel like Michael going back on Foser in this instance is way more egregious than Foser going back on his word with Michael at the first live night, because Foser's nomination of Michael was under extenuating circumstances, being 5 people and having Preston there too. But this time Michael like did not need to do that. Like he fully chose that shot to take himself, and that was like directly opposed to what the three of them were building together. So I get Foser being like forgiving, and I think he's just forgiving because he has to be, because he's running out of options because he knows Gabby and Preston.
Yeah, and who knows like how serious he would have been about the forgiveness too, because I don't think we really talked to him too much on his own, and he didn't win power or anything to do anything with it. But I'd have to imagine like he's saying everything he should be saying to Michael in that moment, because I think it's like a classic strategy. It's like you blindside someone or you take out their closest ally, then theoretically the next best move is to then take them out, because you're so worried that they're never going to forget it. And I think that Foser doing what he did in that chat was good for him, because it was really like, I need Michael to not think that I'm coming for him, because he is so paranoid. And
he is. Yeah, it was good. It was good to get ahead of it, but also I think both Foser and Michael kind of knew that this is probably the last round that each of them could get away with not winning something and still making it through. Like, this is your last opportunity to flex your social game, flex your strategic game, and be like, no, I still have allies. I have protected myself in a certain manner that will keep me safe. I don't have to win all the way out. So I think it was, even though not necessarily intentional on either side to like throw the competitions, I don't think either threw any competition, but I think they both knew deep down that like it wasn't the end of the world if neither won. And it's also just a good resume builder to be like, yeah, even at the final 6, I was safe. I didn't have to win a comp and I'm still safe. Obviously, things could have played out a little differently, but.
And for one of these people, that still rings true in the next round, which is crazy.
Yeah, someone else might be burning their bridges real quick. But yeah, post live night, you got, Michael being very paranoid, but Foser being like, we're good, we're moving past it. But all the talks are about Gabby and Preston. Gabby and Preston are the big losers of live night. Like, they walk away losing Ashley, who was a number for them. Yes, was not as strong of a number for them as she was for Foser, but they lose someone who they had alliances with, and now they're the talk of the town. Everyone wants to break up Gabby and Preston. They no longer want this Joe in the game, and they're clocking Gabby's entire game that Gabby has been saying left and right. Yeah, Michael can go, but she's not going to be the one to do it. And that's just how Gabby is. Gabby values her friends. She's very much willing to vote one of them out, but is not willing to nominate one of them. And you see that at live night where, she's been talking this big game of like, yeah, Michael needs to go, but then she's HOH and doesn't nominate him.
And denying to Michael that she even wants to target him, which is a whole other which we could go down the hole in. But
God.
Which I do, looking back on Gabby's game, and what she said to Michael, I actually do believe that she was not wanting to target him. I think that she was appeasing her allies and saying, like, because they all want to target him. Yeah, but I don't think she ever wanted to be the person that had to do it herself. So I do believe the words she was telling him, that she was not after him. I think she very much wanted him to leave, but she was never going to be the person that made it happen.
Well,
we're playing semantics.
Yeah, there's a difference between wanting Michael to leave and then saying that I want to backdoor Michael, or there's also a difference between saying I want to backdoor Michael and Michael will be the renom if I have to make one. Like that, all of those messages got crossed, and people just read into things that like weren't actually intended. And I feel like Gabby's entire game has just been like miscommunication.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it's not even her fault.
Right. Yeah. Like she'll just say something and she knows what she means, and then somebody else will just completely take it the wrong way. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, she
Fireball, the sponsor of BBH Live Night, it created so much miscommunication.
Yeah, I mean, Gabby has to leave Live Night really having to defend herself. We've covered the Ashley miscommunication of it all when Gabby is like, Michael is the renomination option if Lauren or Madison is to come off the block, but he is not the target, nor is he the intended target under any circumstances. She absolutely wants Madison to leave over anybody. Obviously, that gets miscommunicated from Ashley to Michael, and leaving Live Night, Michael is not only paranoid about his relationship with Foser, he's paranoid about how much is his, in the words of Blake Radcliffe, his close personal friend, Gabby Franklin, lying to him, because she is swearing on her boyfriend, all of her favorite sports teams. And in Gabby's defense, she is not lying about the instance in which Michael is referring to, which is the Live Night of it all. She never once said he was the Live Night target, never once said she was going to backdoor him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What Gabby is not disclosing is that, yes, she has openly admitted, been on calls with other people who are very anti-Michael, and she definitely has, fanned those flames, have been like, absolutely fucking do it. Yes, I'm super down to do it. And I think she would be down to vote him out, but wouldn't, again, as we said, would not be the one to want to throw him up there. So she's catching a lot of heat for all of this because people are not coming to her defense. Like, Michael is asking around, being like, "Did Gabby say this?" And Foster's like, "Well, I wasn't at Live Night," but Foster's like, she definitely has brought up many times about voting you out." Lauren's like, "Yeah, she brought this up to me like days ago." Like, again, no one is defending Gabby in the moment of like what happened on Live Night, which like she's in the right for. She's being honest there, but they are for sure throwing her under for all the conversations she had days ago, which is not helping her case, which is making Michael think that she's lying about everything, which she's not.
I think Gabby is like genuinely, I mean, at least from reading her diary room, it sounded like she was genuinely confused as to why Michael was upset about this, because she's like, I'm telling the truth. Like, why is he upset? And I feel like, tell me if this is just like me, because I know all the information, but like, could she not kind of infer that like what Michael was really getting at is like, are we aligned or are we not aligned? Not the specifics of that interaction, but just like what he really wants to know is like, are you with me or not? Right?
Sure.
Yes and no. I think he wants the answers about the questions he's asking, but also like, the big picture here is like, are you with me or are you not with me? But I think Michael is very invested in you swore on your boyfriend, and I want to know if you're being honest in this moment, because I think Michael, for whatever reason, it's funny coming from Michael that he's taking the swear thing so like personally and so seriously for someone who has gone back on his word and has done things.
Michael needs to like cut the double standards.
So as someone who has been a big Michael cheerleader, I will say the biggest thing that I criticized through these past few rounds with him is that he will look, and honestly throughout the game, he will look for any reason, like, please tell me why I should not believe my allies. Please tell me why I should not trust them. And the funny, so looking at all of these things, whether it's been turning on Ashley, turning on Gabby, it's always, he's willing to listen to people he doesn't trust over the people he allegedly trusts. So he's just looking like for any way to self-destruct, and tear apart that relationship for anyone. Like you'd be a complete stranger while yelling. He'd be like, "I believe you over my ally."
And honestly, in my personal life, I understand. I feel like every time somebody gets close to me or offers me help, I push them away. So I feel you, Brady.
And I know we were talking about this on the prod call. We were just playing games, and like we talked about how Michael gives me Vanessa Russo vibes, because it does, like, very much paranoid 24/7 and thinks everyone is like 3D 4D chess making moves against them when like it's really not that serious. Like no one's thinking that far ahead. And like we'll get to Michael and his blow up here on day 24, but like I think it's funny because in the pre-jury I thought that he was kind of thinking everyone was really stupid in this game because he's like, I have this really cracked idea, like I could get people to like split their votes in a triple and then get a majority to vote for a third nominee. I'm like, do you think these people are that dumb, Michael, to fall for this bullshit strategy? But now here he is, I think, now overestimating everyone, being like, oh, they're playing me, they're like doing all this like 4D chess to catch me in this trap. I'm like, no, they're not. Like they really aren't.
Oh,
They're really just telling you the truth, and no one's trying to like mind fuck you here. Like they really aren't. So like a complete 180 in my opinion on how Michael is viewing this cast. It's just really funny to me that he just is constantly looking for any reason to believe that people are lying to him. And again, maybe that's just how he's used to playing. He's been on the bottom most of the game. I don't know, but like he just can't seem to trust people.
I think the thing about him, someone said this the last morning tea, and I think it's so true. It's that he's just so used to maybe not playing from the bottom, but playing alone, that he can't stand to have allies, or if he does, he just can't bring himself to believe that it's true. And so maybe he just likes this, like he's better at preaching the story of I really had to play from the bottom. I had all of this adversity. Look at me. I couldn't trust anybody. But here it is really him doing a lot of this to himself. Like I do enjoy a lot watching his style. I know that that's probably a hot take, but I do enjoy it. And but I do think it's like players like him, players that we've seen in the past. I'll throw myself in the group as well. Like we do things that we bring this shit on ourselves. Like we really aren't thrusted nor forced into these bad positions. So then when you're like, look at me and look at what I overcame, people are just like, it's kind of like the Jed Bush, like, please clap. And it's just, you're not going to get that reaction from people as much as it can be thrilling or exciting or entertaining. I'm loving it, but I just worry that like this cast is also like a very emotionally intelligent cast, and on the jury they are just not going to eat it up. I think that they will respect the fact that he is a good game player and he survived way longer than he ever should have, even if he goes out next. But there are points even in the past couple of rounds where I'm just like, Michael, what the fuck are you doing? And
one more thing to kind of like wrap it up.
Come at me.
We have to also remember that, and I haven't watched Michael Brady in any previous org, but this one, the pre-jury, his game started out with a person he viewed as a very close ally, probably one of his top allies, throwing him under the bus in Daniel. And so that kind of could have set the tone for him for this season and prepped him to just expect people he's working with to turn against him. So, and maybe he's kind of like thinking that in order to get ahead of it so he doesn't get got again like that. Because I remember that like really wrecked him in round 2. It rocked his world that it's that happened, and he's probably like, I will never let this happen to me again.
No, that's super valid. That's very valid. And yeah, I remember him saying in his prod chat that he had never felt as played as he did when he found out that Daniel pitched for the backdoor underneath Frankie round 2. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just from then on was like, I'm not going to trust a single hoe in this game.
Which how played can you feel after playing the game for 3 days with someone? I don't know. I'm just being a little shady because I've given him a whole lot of credit, and so I'm allowed. Like I have a little bit of points that I can take off now. But I mean, to say that Michael Brady has played so many games and done really well, and also like not done well in some. Like, how can you say that is the most played you've ever felt? Is that Daniel turned on you after knowing the man for 2 days? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, valid point. I don't know.
We'll find out in his exit interview in a couple days.
Damn, get him. Well, as much as we've talked about how Gabby was a big loser from Live Night, I think Preston's maybe the biggest loser of Live Night, because as much as Michael is upset with Gabby by, if she's lying, if she's not lying, all that crap, Foser and Michael have turned their attention to Preston as a threat to win this game. And I think Preston gets the unfortunate distinction of being someone that is deemed as a threat within the game, but is not a winner threat via the jury. It's the worst thing you can have happen to you, where the jury's like, yeah, not really vibing, but the people in the game are like, no, he's going to win. When we know that Preston is not at the top of the winner rankings, but like in the game, people are like, oh no, he would win. Like he's played such a great game, and that's the worst situation to be in.
It kind of makes sense for the players to think that, because Preston does have a lot of friends on the jury. It's just that those friends on the jury are like being great jurors and putting that aside and objectively evaluating what's going on. But like Preston up until this point has not been nominated by an HOH voluntarily, has not needed to win a comp to stay safe, and has had at least decently good social relationships with everybody. Like Preston doesn't actively ignore anyone. Like he has a good rapport with most of the cast. So like if you're a player without the information of the jury, you're thinking like, oh, this is a recipe for like a UTR win.
Yeah.
So.
And it's interesting because I think, you know, where he's definitely been said he's been playing in the middle a lot. I agree with that, but I think one of the things that I will push back on is that Preston really hasn't ever been the decision maker. Like his vote has never really mattered to push something one way or the other. So his game, I think that it is, while you can call him a little bit of a middle player, you know, or even a floater, like you can only do that to a certain extent because he's not had to make a decision. Like he can just roll with one side, but the other people make that decision and the votes happened that way. So I think if Preston does make it to the end, like I do think that he is going to be able to tell his story a lot better than maybe the jury perceives it. And I think that as these people like start, the late jurors, as they start to enter the game and they're like, hey, you really didn't see these things that Preston was doing, I think that they could be higher on him. I just don't think that they will be as high as the other people he's up against.
Yeah, no, valid. Well, let's talk about our moderate winner and the definitive winner of Live Night. Moderate winner being Foser. Yes, loses his top ally in Ashley, but sometimes losing a top ally is a benefit because people think, oh, you're alone, you need someone to work with, and people are dying to work with you now. That person being Lauren, and Lauren hops on call where, Lauren definitely has a rapport with Foster where she can just be open and honest with him, even if they're not on the same page, which is very good because I think Foster really is a great listener. And Lauren's very upset from Live Night. We've talked about this before where Michael literally was on call with her, called her shady and called her, you know, all of these things that he's been like, that she's been distant with him. And basically, Michael ends up still saving Lauren as the deciding vote, but like was very conflicted about should he save Lauren or Ashley. And Michael definitely did not make Lauren feel good coming out of Live Night, even though he did vote to save her. So she's venting to Foser about, you know, her feelings about Michael, how she's very mad at him, but she's not going to target him because she's made a promise to him that they made a promise early on, and she's not going to be the one to you know, betray it. He needs to be the one to betray it first, so then she can betray it back. But Foser and Lauren make a pact to get Gabby or Preston out of this game, which is exactly what Foser needs. One more round of the target not being him, because how he has not had, and again, you know, Foser's compatibility has not been, you know, at the top as we might have expected. I think a lot of us know that he is a huge comp threat, but the results have not necessarily shown that. Yes, he's done well in most comps. He only has 3 wins. But you do have people like Lauren and Madison who have 4 wins. Sam, who's been evicted for a couple rounds, has 3 wins. So, you know, we thought at this point you have to look at Foser as the comp threat here. But he manages to find an ally in Lauren who absolutely is like, no, me, Foser, Madison, Michael, we're a foursome for the final 6 round. We have to boot either Gabby or Preston. We can't let this duo exist any fucking longer in this game. And that's music to Foster's ears. Great. Another round I'm not the target. I might not have to win anything this round and still be safe. Love that for me. And that's kind of where we leave really day 22 and then most of day 23 is kind of, you know, this section where we've got Michael, who is now really with Madison. Yes, he's still in the trio with Lauren, but like realistically, he's losing a lot of trust in Lauren. Michael's absolutely with Madison. Madison's with both of them, but probably prefers Lauren. You've got Foser, who really is loyal to no one at this point. Yes, Lauren has approached him. Yes, he's in a trio, Goodnight Rick, with Gabby and Preston. He's really loyal to no one at this point. Gabby and Preston have each other. And Lauren has everybody. Lauren literally has everybody. Lauren has Foser, who wants to work with her. Michael, who's tentatively still working with her because it makes sense optically because it's 3v3 in Michael's eyes. Madison still has her as her number one. Gabby and Preston want to make a 3 with her. Preston later makes a final 2 with Lauren the day after. Everyone's dying to work with Lauren, and she finds herself, you know, pretty much the choice of whatever she wants. No one's after her. Everyone wants her, and she's just in such a great position. And
Lauren deserves that after the number of times she's been on the block. Like, leave her alone.
the jury phase has been rough to her. I mean, nominated the first live night. Gabby said she was going to nominate her and then just didn't because Sam volunteered. Nominated at 9, nominated at 8, nominated at the live night at 7. Like, she's been in danger every round, or at least talked about to be in danger. She's not had an easy ride. So it was nice to finally feel like, great. She should be a round of breathing room. Dare I say maybe even 2 rounds of breathing room.
Right.
So it was nice for her to feel like
Lauren, up until just like an hour ago, Lauren had only cast 1 vote in the jury phase. And she was the final nominee 3 times in a row. That is exhausting to deal with.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like, she was the final nominee.
Well, and it's just there's no agency there. Which, not to say that in a bad way, but it's like you're also losing that pivotal communication because no one's asking you who you prefer to stay in a round where you're on the block. Like, yes, it's me. I'm the person that I prefer that stays, but either people choose to go with that or not. And this, you know, this season, people aren't really telling other people what they're doing unless they are directly in alliance with them. But like, people are ghosting oftentimes both of the nominees. They may come to them last minute. But like, me saying I'm saving you in season 18 of BBH is like not me saying I really want to work with you in most cases. It's just saying that's where me and my people arrived at. And you're here. Thank me. And that's the way it's kind of given off this season. I think that's just been the theme of how they've treated Lauren, but how this cast has really treated each other. It's like, I'm doing what I want. I might let you in on what's happening later, but you're not really important to what's going on.
I think the reason, though, that Lauren is able to come out of it the way that she is right now is that she used the small windows of time where she wasn't in danger to actively do things to better her position. Like, if she was like right after a round or in between decisions, or if she wasn't nominated, like maybe like pre-veto or whatever, like she was able to really talk and solidify things. Whereas I feel like some people, if they would get into that state, like they would just kind of check out and be like on the bottom, like, and have that mentality. But she approached it with a mentality of like, I'm still an active player in this game.
Yeah, she's really good at cultivating quid pro quo relationships too. Like, the relationship with Foser has proven, as we'll talk about, like, it's not just beneficial to her. It's something that really has been good for both of them. And I think that she's good at identifying those key opportunities with people that it's like, I see this person and I realize that they're probably needing someone. I need someone. We can need each other and we can be good for each other. And she's really good, I think, that showing her allies that she is aligned with them, and not just her words, but her actions. And so I think that has really helped her in this cast, where sometimes that behavior can be super refreshing to orgers.
Yeah, I've just been really vibing with. Yeah, it's why, like, the first 3 rounds were not strong for her either. Obviously had a tumultuous first round HOH with her not talking to half the house, and they all didn't feel good with her. Gets lucky with the second round HOH. She was like, I'm not going to nominate Lauren because she didn't nominate me, and I owe her that. round 3, obviously she gets the wake up call. But like the Lauren that we saw in rounds 4 and 5 is the Lauren that we get to see here at the final 6. Like we get to see the fun, lovable Lauren who is so good on calls, is so good about making you feel good, and is so good about making you feel like there's a genuine connection that's worthwhile for both of y'all. And like that's the Lauren that we haven't been able to see for a while because she's been on the fucking block every fucking round. She's not had the opportunity to speak her mind and to be able to, you know, say what she wants and vote the way that she wants because she's on the fucking block, or she's in danger with the current HOH and can't really, you know, speak too much because she's too worried about getting nominated. So it's really nice to see her back in her element. And I mean, literally, she's killing it post live night with everyone rallying behind her. And I mean, if things weren't going well enough for her, on day 23, we crown Madison the winner of the HOH competition. It couldn't be sweeter news for Lauren, who literally is the worst case scenario at final 6 is, you know, the one of the people who's off the block wins it, uses it, and then you have to nominate someone from the remaining 2 people, and still Lauren wouldn't have been an option. And like, it literally, I mean, she's in such a great spot. But let's get to Madison's HOH because Lord the VL had some discourse about this one. And we're going to set it straight by giving our opinion. Madison's the HOH. Gabby is for sure her target. She will be nominating Gabby, no doubts about it, because Gabby has now nominated her twice. And Madison's just over it. Like, you nominated me, I'm going to nominate you back, and I want to get you out. Yeah. And she's trying to decide between who should be the other nominee, Foser or Preston. Obviously, Lauren and Michael have a preference for it to be Preston. They both think that they're a tight duo, and obviously, if you leave one off the block, you risk the one who's off the block winning, and then they take the other one down, and now they're both in the final 5. And Lauren and Michael want to avoid that at all costs. 1, because they want the duo to be over, but 2, especially for Michael, who knows he will be the renom underneath Madison if, let's say, it ends up being Foser and Gabby on the block, Preston wins the veto, takes Gabby down. Madison can only nominate Lauren or Michael. He knows it's going to be him, and now Gabby and Preston have the votes to swing it whatever way that they want, which is likely against Michael. So he obviously, for many reasons, wants it to be Gabby and Preston up on the block. Both Lauren and Michael are like, don't put up Foser, he won't use the veto. Foser's even telling Madison directly himself that he won't use the veto because, I mean, Lauren wants the foursome to be together to take out Gabby and Preston. Lauren now has a nice relationship with Foser. So, like, it's best on all counts for Lauren and Michael to have Gabby and Preston as the ultimate nominees. Well, Madison says, thank you for your opinions. I'm going to bed, and I'm waking up in the morning, and I'm nominating Gabby and Foser. Let's talk about, do you like these noms? Do you not like these noms? Because the VL clearly has different opinions.
Well, it's okay. So Foser, like, did Foser did promise to Madison that he wouldn't use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even still, like, if I'm Madison, I don't have that great of a relationship with Foser, so I really don't have a reason to believe that. And I think Foser is more likely to win than Preston because, obviously. So I totally understand this move from Madison. Like, she doesn't need Gabby and Preston split up as badly as everybody else does. Because I don't think Gabby and Preston are really coming from Madison out of all people. Maybe, I don't know.
I kind of agree. I mean, I do think that it's like if you have one person saying I'm not going to use it and you just know for certain that Preston would, that is kind of weird. Again, I'm not mad about the move. I just think that the manner in which Madison made the nominations is, for me, what is the hotter take. Like, I think that we've talked about this before, where you have that whole etiquette about talking to the people you're working with about what you're doing. And when the last thing you hear from both of your allies is like, I don't think you should do this, you should do this, Foser's not going to leave the noms the same, and you don't even come back and say, hey, I'm going to nominate Foser. Like, the last thing your allies want to do is find out what you're doing from your video. They want you to talk to them, because otherwise it does come off like you have made plans or you've talked to other people about what you're doing. And yeah, great, you kept me safe, but you don't really care what I think about what you're doing. And I think that's ultimately what it communicates. For Madison, the move is fine. The noms are fine. It's just the lack of the communication. But we have to roast so many people for this over the season, because communication has been the issue this season. This is just Madison's example of what she's going to be roasted for communication. Because overall, I think Madison has actually, you can laugh about like the how she's been perceived and acted by some, which we know not to be true. She may have lesser activity or only talk to a fewer people, but I think that this is her example of having some poor communication, because I think she's been better in the past at being very honest, being very blunt. This is what I'm doing. And I think this is where she kind of dropped the ball. But I also think that this goes in with how you are in finale week fatigue, and you just kind of stop caring about doing all the etiquette. It's like, I know these people, I'm not nominating them. People should know where I stand. But here's the thing, Michael Brady never knows where you stand unless you tell him every day, 5 times a day. And so the fact that a decision was made without talking to him first, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I really don't think it's going to be that big of a deal looking forward. But I think in the moment, like when you have both of them saying that, it does communicate like, cool, I hear you, but I don't trust. It communicates to them, and I don't think that's what Madison felt, but it communicates, I don't really trust you enough to go with what you're suggesting. I just want to do what I want. And I think that she could say that to both of them, and it's just like, okay, fine, it's your HOH.
And again, this might be a case of Madison just has calculated the numbers incorrectly, because even after she nominates Foser and Gabby, they're in their trio chat, the carousel chat, and they're like, well, worst case is Preston winning, and they're making all these like funny gifs of like, cut the Wi-Fi. And Madison's like, don't worry, even if Preston wins and he uses the veto, then we have the votes to just evict one of my original nominations. And Lauren and Michael are trying to explain to her why that isn't accurate, and Madison is instead trying to convince Gabby that a football player on the Philadelphia Eagles is indeed her cousin. So like immediately the conversation switches, but like Michael and Lauren are like, wait a minute, does she think we're at final 7? Because like that works at final 7, but like at 6, no. If Preston and Gabby are off the block, one of us has to go up, and they have 2 of the 3 votes to then take us out, and now that's what we've done. But again, to the point that you made, Max, and to the point that I think Madison's also considering, is like, sure, Foser's telling you that he'll do X, Y, and Z, but you have no working relationship with Foser. Foser is absolutely better at competitions than Preston. What faith do you have that Foser is going to do that? So like, sure, I see both sides to it, and ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. The jury was very happy with these noms. They were like, ooh, great noms. We love these noms. So like the jury loved it. So guess what? It doesn't matter what the fuck we think.
Before we move on, as we're talking about the noms that Michael and Lauren wanted Madison to make, remember this, Michael Brady, you wanted Preston and Gabby to be on the block. Remember this.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there, my love. We will get there. So we enter the day 24 today, literally like 10 hours ago, with Foser and Gabby noms. So we compete in Zendo as our veto competition, and Lauren sneaks out a little bit of a victory narrowly over Foser, and Lauren has now locked up her spot in the final 5, even though she didn't need it. She would have been just fine had anyone else won it. She was fine. But immediately Lauren reaches out to Michael and is like, hey, I kind of want to say Foser here. I don't even want one of Preston or Gabby off the block. I just want them both up there. She wants Gabby to go, and she can't get Gabby to go. She'd rather have Preston go. Yes, she has a new final 2 with Preston, and she absolutely would rather have Gabby go, but she doesn't want to risk that both of them continue on in this game. Michael's playing the like, well, talk to Madison. I don't really, by taking off Foser, do you piss her off? And does she then like retaliate by putting up Michael? So he's like, go talk to her. I don't know. Like, I will vote out Gabby if that's what, you two want, as in Madison and Lauren. If y'all want Gabby out, I'll vote out Gabby over anyone on the block. So, like, whatever. But ultimately says, Lauren, it's your veto. You do what you want with it, because that has been this group's motto. Do what's best for your game. You have the power. We will support you. That's, you won. You get to pick. But ultimately, at the very end of the conversation, Michael does say, I will vote out Gabby, but I can't lie and say that it's not tempting to vote out Foser, because he is absolutely the biggest comp threat left in the game. So, like, it is tempting, but I will do what you want.
And Lauren is like, the fuck? What?
Not happy with that answer. Obviously, from Michael, who is an org veteran, talking about both sides of the coin to your ally is fair game. And like that, honestly, that attracts me as an org player. Like, if I have someone who's working with me who's willing to discuss both sides with me openly and honestly, I love that. But for Lauren, who absolutely is decided on what she wants, because Gabby's the only person left in this game who does not have a final two with her, she does not want to hear any idea that involves keeping Gabby in this game. So she's not happy with this. She's like, I don't even like that you're even tempted to do something against what I want. So she just calls Foser and is like, hey, I'm going to feel the vibes. I don't want to use it. Like, I don't want to cause extra chaos if I don't need to. If I think you're going to be safe, I have no reason to use it. Why cause chaos? But she's like, if I get the vibe that you might not be safe, I will use it on you, because my preference is for you to stay and for Gabby to go. And Foser's like, that's fine. I have put you on the block and left you up there knowing you would be safe. So it's fine if you do the same to me. I can't sit here and call you rude words because I've done the same thing to you. Lauren then calls Madison. And Lauren is like, I am concerned that Michael's going to flip, that he's going to go rogue and vote out Foser and keep Gabby here. And that's not what we want. And Madison's like, I won't be upset if you veto Foser. It's not a big deal. I'll just nominate Preston. As long as we get Gabby to go, as long as Foser's willing to vote out Gabby, as long as Michael's willing to vote out Gabby, I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's your veto. You want it. Do what you want with it. So Lauren's a little freaked out in the moment. Doesn't, her biggest thing, she doesn't want to do it to stay. She's freaking out. And ultimately, Madison's driving. Michael's in a work meeting. And no one's responding to her inside that chat. And she ultimately has to make a decision, because she's also going to her Valentine's Day dinner. And ultimately decides that she would rather not take the gamble and not take the risk, and would rather take Foser down and ensure that when the duo leaves, preferably Gabby, she gets Foser to promise her that he'd vote out Gabby. And this does not make Madison or Michael too happy at all. Let's talk about it. Thoughts generally?
I love the move from Lauren, and not even from a bias standpoint. I like the move.
Madison, I'm reading through Lauren and Madison's chat, and Madison is just like, there's a little bit of tension there. Like, these girls have been best since day one.
They are both a little frustrated with Lauren right now.
They are. And like, Madison is saying, like, I'm a little concerned about how close you are to Foser. Like, why do you care this much if Gabby's going anyway? And Lauren is like, because I think Michael might flip. And like, Madison is just not having it. She, like, after the veto is used, Madison just messages Lauren, is like, please vote out Gabby.
Yeah. The relationships radically change.
It's really wild.
Which is funny, because at the end of the day here, she came to both of you, and you both gave her the blessing to do whatever the fuck she wanted, because it was her veto. Madison, you literally told her it was fine. You didn't care if you didn't make a renom. And Michael, you literally told her it's your veto. Do whatever you want. So then you don't get to be upset when she does something when you told her she could. Like, it's like telling somebody you can go have a cookie from the cookie jar and then being angry that she took a cookie.
Michael, you wanted Preston on the block to begin with.
Yeah, now you're angry that Preston's on the block. I mean, there are other reasons as to why he's upset. So, like, I'm not gonna just boil it down to he's he's not upset that he got what he wanted initially. He's upset about other things, and we'll get there. But like, yeah, it's just a lot of emotions for safe. It's a lot of emotions for getting out someone on the other side. It's a lot of emotions for still getting out Gabby, which is what.
But you wanted anyway.
You both said that you wanted, even though Michael, we know that might not be necessarily what you wanted because you were still up in the air. Like, had it stayed Gabby and Foser, Michael could have flipped and taken out Foser. We don't know, but he wanted the choice. He wanted the choice to be able to consider it, and he was not gifted that choice. So, like,
when it's at HOH and it's final 6, like I feel like I don't know. Especially with the road Michael has taken to get to this point, I don't think he gets to be choosy about a lot, honestly.
Well,
like, I feel like with his position, he has to kind of take what the game gives him and just work with it. Like, unless he wins power, he has to win. If he wants that kind of decision-making power, he just needs to win an HOH, honestly.
Yeah, he can be choosy, but again, we've said this so many times this season. Lesson to future BBH players: stop talking out what you want to happen before results of things are announced or before decisions are made. Lauren probably does not use the veto if Michael does not say that to her. In which case, if the veto is not used, then guess what, Michael? You have the sole deciding vote to take out Foser, and there is nothing Lauren can do about it.
Yes, then the power shifts once the veto is used. But yeah, like you said, before the veto decision is played.
Because you, and especially with 6 people, you don't know what, like, you have to assume everyone has a relationship to everyone. You don't know where those cards fall. And when Lauren is so vocal, and Madison too, about wanting Gabby out, and the fact that you're even remotely saying something that goes against that, how are you gooped that she might try to use the veto to prevent you from doing that?
Yeah. Ultimately, if Foser is able to win power or is the sole vote that sends Michael out of the door, I might put this conversation as the worst move of the season. I might do it. I might do it because had Michael just said, "We're good, I'm voting out Gabby no matter what," Lauren wouldn't have used it. But because you spooked her into thinking that she needed to use it, obviously we don't know what Michael would have done with the deciding vote. Maybe he does end up just voting out Gabby and like whatever. But because now the narrative is that, I mean, let's get to it. Lauren, because no one's talking to her, she just makes her nomination video or her veto decision where she basically is like, I've talked to everybody and I don't feel confident that what I want to happen is going to happen. Well, hint, hint, wink, wink.
Lauren gave Michael a chance to talk about it. And she said, when was it at 6:19 p.m. Eastern, when he mentioned that he was considering Foser, she's like, wait, now I'm a little worried because all the stuff, we can't have Gabby and Preston stay. And then 27 minutes passes by, during which Lauren is about to have plans with her boyfriend. She needs to make her video. And Michael's in a work meeting, so he doesn't respond. And by the time he responds, like, she's already made her video.
She's done. So, like, yeah, it's unfortunate timing. And, like, sure, does Lauren not handle the video the best? Probably not. But, like, she was speaking her mind. She's speaking her truth. In the video, she's like, I didn't feel comfortable that what I wanted to happen was going to happen. So I need to take action into my own hands. And anybody with a brain can read through that message and be like, hold on here. I know where Preston's voting if the noms stay the same, and I know where Lauren's voting where the noms stay the same. So, who are you worried about, Lauren? I wonder who that could be. It's very clear that she does not trust Michael to vote the way that she wants, and that's very evident from the video. And Michael is, dare I say, livid about this. Dare I say, very upset because, I mean, it's not for a lack of trying from Preston. I mean, Preston fought his ass off to stay off the block. I mean, promised to vote out Gabby, as did Foser. And both were saying why the other one isn't as trustworthy to keep their word, even though I feel like Preston was lying and Foser was Foser clearly told the truth. But I think Preston would have absolutely voted out Foser over Gabby in a heartbeat, even if he had promised Lauren the world. I don't think he would have stuck with it. Once Michael had come to Preston being like, "What about Foser?" and they would have done it. But Michael's very pissed about this video because he feels left out of the loop. Which again, you went to. I mean, yes, I'm not going to shame you for having a job. Like you had a work meeting. It's unfortunate, but like Foser and Preston were talking to Lauren during this time. You and Madison weren't talking. She needed someone to talk to, and ultimately, she got what she needed. She used the veto on Foser, got Foser to promise her that he'd vote to evict Gabby, is telling Preston, hey, I have to do to what I need to do to ensure Gabby is gone. I have promises from people. You are safe. And then she went on her merry way. She got what she needed, and she got the confirmation she wanted. Michael's not too happy because he feels left out of the whole plan. He came back from a work meeting, is finding out, oh, Foster's off the block, Preston's going up.
Gabby's he finds out that it's really kind of funny because he finds out from Preston that Preston knew that he was being nominated before Michael knew that the veto was even being used, which I think is just amusing. But like once Preston gives Michael the news, Preston's like, yeah, I knew. Preston's like, well, fuck, what?
Yeah, like my ally's not even telling me, even though it's like, your ally has sent you multiple messages. You have not responded yet. Had you responded, maybe she would have then told you what she was doing. But that's nor here nor there. But Michael's livid. Michael's in his project being like, you know what? I'm after Lauren now. Lauren's going to be my next target. I mean, he's also realizing that Lauren's going to get the same jury votes. Let me just say this. Let me rephrase this again. Lauren's going to win the jury votes that Michael thinks he has in his corner because the jury prefers Lauren to Michael. And he's realizing he needs to cut Lauren, period, because you never want to go to the end with someone who has such a similar game plan to you. It's never fun to do that because then you risk, those fringe voters that like you both equally, they might just sway with the wind. You never want that. You want to be at the end with someone who's very different from you, and you have jurors who prefer you. That's what you want. I think Michael's finally coming to that realization on top of Lauren is, growing distance. It's very clear this relationship has gone through a lot of bumps and bruises and it needs a break. So Michael very much is not happy with her in their one-on-one chat and tells her that they should go their separate ways in this game at the final 5. Well, technically it's still the final 6, but they're both going to the final 5. So it's like they need to go their separate ways. And Lauren doesn't back down. Lauren claps the fuck back. Lauren's like, remember when you said I could do whatever the fuck I wanted with the veto because you said it was my veto to do whatever I wanted, that you would support me and you'd vote out Gabby no matter what? So why are you angry with me? I said, oh, she kind of has a point. She kind of
absolutely has a point.
Like it was,
and then Michael responds with, I honestly can't tell if you're trying to manipulate me or not. Not like forgetting the last 2 hours of.
Oh, read the next line. The next line's my favorite. This day is supposed to be about love.
Oh, I didn't. It's just a game, and today's supposed to be a day about love. It's not worth it.
The game is about love. He's trying to bother Lauren while she's out with her boyfriend.
BBH is built on a foundation of love, everyone.
It just was really fucking funny that. Like that's the thing. It's like you can't tell someone that you're going to support them, and they did break up on Valentine's Day. It's true. Like you can't say to someone you're okay to do whatever you want with it. I support you, and then be mad that they did something. Like you gave them the permission, and then Madison's also, as we talked about, being very defensive with Lauren. And Madison's like, well, I'm scared now that you have a strong relationship with Foser, and she goes, girl, I've got nothing with Foser. Lie, but like. Lauren is not saving Foser because of her relationship with Foser. She is saving Foser because she is worried that Gabby will stay. That is the driving force here as to why Lauren is doing what she's doing. And she's being honest about that, but Madison obviously doesn't trust that. Madison's like, there's something up here and I don't like it. So both people who gave her permission to do whatever she wanted are now mad that she then did whatever she wanted.
Yeah, but I think it was the conversation between Foser and Lauren, and I think that Foser really did a good job of like kind of looping the thread through the needle or whatever you say. But like when he said something to the effect of, Preston did a bad job of assuring Lauren that he would vote the way she wanted when she first brought up like using the veto even beforehand. So it shows you exactly where he would have voted had she not used the veto. And I think that folks are saying that, I mean, she already knew at that point she was going to do it, but I think folks are saying that really locks up, I am with you, Preston is not.
Exactly. Yeah, like when Foster's like, if you think I'll be safe against Gabby, leave me up there. I have no issue.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren goes, Preston, I'm going to put you up there, but you're safe. And Preston's like, absolutely not. I'm not a fan of this at all. Like the difference is it's stark.
Because he doesn't want Gabby to go, which shows that while they may have some other interests that align later, that was something they were never going to agree on.
Nope. And I think that's also, I mean, again, while Michael doesn't necessarily want Gabby to stay, he's unsure. Again, the same vibe Lauren's getting. She's like, why are you so defensive about what I do with this nomination? What I do with the veto? You said you'd vote out Gabby no matter what. So why do you care if it's Foster or Preston? Because you do care. Because you do care. It's because you might not vote out Gabby either way. And she's seeing through it. She sees through this bullshit. She sees through both of their bullshit.
She didn't even need to see through it. He told her straight up, like, it's tempting to vote out Foster. Like, he didn't even hide the fact that he was thinking about it. So yeah, it totally makes sense that Lauren was spooked.
And then that gives her the ammo to tell Foster, hey, Michael did not want me to use this because he wanted to vote you out, and even exposes it kinda in her video to use the veto on him. Like, I am not trusting that these people will keep you safe.
Yeah. And that's where we get to where we've got Michael is done with working with everyone but Madison, the outgoing HOH. And now we have a new alliance. We get rid of Goodnight Rick because Gabby is evicted 2-1, with Foster and Lauren voting to evict Gabby. So Goodnight Rick is dead, but now we have the Chanels.
Before we do this, can we just take a quick second to mention when Preston goes to campaign for Michael's vote, and Michael's just like, Michael's just like, wait, I'm going to read it.
Yeah. So we have the Chanel. So Foster, Lauren, and Preston are now a new trio alliance based off of Michael's actions over the past 90 minutes, where Michael got angry with Lauren about her using the veto and then went against both Lauren and Madison's wishes because they both wanted Gabby to go, cues to Michael campaigning for Preston to go. So let's get to it. Preston campaigning to Michael. And Michael literally, I mean, basically says, nah, I'm voting you out. Like, I mean, politely.
So Preston says, what are the odds you want to keep our fun rivalry going a few more days? And Michael says, honestly, I'd prefer you to go. No offense.
Michael's mad. Michael at this point is now playing this is what you want. I'm going to do the opposite of it.
It's all fun. Like Michael is like kind of being more playful with Preston here, but
it's not much.
And Preston's like, yeah, I get it. You know, I'd feel the same way if the tables were turned. And Michael's like, you should probably campaign to the other two.
Yeah, and Michael knows that he's not going to win this. He know everyone knows where Lauren's voting. Everyone knows that, and Foster told Michael once the veto was used, he's like, I'd feel really shitty if I went back on my word. He's like, yes, we have talked about for days now getting Preston out the second we can, but I can't do that to Lauren. I promised her I would do something, and I'm going to uphold that. But like, we can still get Preston out. Like, he still has 1-0 challenges. Like, it's not like, Preston's going to, I mean, he could win out. I mean, hell, but like,
and Foster's also
history.
not in a position to be making any enemies either, because he needs Lauren as much as Lauren needs him.
He doesn't need to make enemies though, because all these people are doing this shit to everyone else. So he can sit back and watch. Like he didn't. While there's a lot of drama in the fact that the veto gets used on him, he didn't have to do anything.
No,
he didn't piss anyone off.
I mean, he kind of got lucky that everybody else kind of knocked the cards down for him, but.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I said that earlier. I was like, it's so impressive if he can stay on the block and survive at Final 6 because they're so blinded by this duo. But I think it's maybe more impressive that he got someone who he's been aligned with for like 2 days to pull him off the block at Final 6. Like that in itself, I think either way, if he makes the final 2, those are things you talk about that you're like, that is my game-winning move because you had me. you had me dead for rights. And you could have taken me out. You could have taken the shot. I get that he's beneficial to Lauren's game, so this is not against her. But it is the fact that when someone like Foser is sitting on the block at final 6, and you have the opportunity to leave him as a final nominee, and you don't, that is a testament to his game. And if he makes the end of this game, that is something which I'm still sad, because I think that he still is so highly unaware of how good of a game that he's playing, but also how highly regarded it is among the jury. Like, I don't think that there's any configuration that involves Foser to this jury where Foser loses. And I don't think that adding any juror to the equation of these remaining people would change that outcome either. But I'm bewildered that we were talking about a world where Foser would survive the block as a final nominee, let alone be vetoed off by someone that he's not even been working with in this game. I mean, yes, they're aligned now, but they have not been working together in this game.
No, not at all. It's wild. But again, that's what I love about when I see players like this who are willing to be fluid, who are willing to put aside the past and be like, you know what, this is my best path forward. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
and that's what I love.
I had this. You all know I had a lot of excitement over the idea of Foser and Michael working together, and by extension, Foser, Michael, and Ashley. But I think I am equally, if not more, excited by Foser and Lauren working together, because it really is the definition of fluid gameplay, that these are people who have had to adapt to adversity, losing allies, fighting with allies, and saying it makes sense. Like, it's not just convenient, but it makes sense for us to forget about the past 20 some days and work together now. And I think that that is really such a mark of fluid gameplay that you don't see a lot in orgs in general. And I think seeing it here, I think it's why it's so exciting that we cast some newbies, Lauren included, because, you know, she is not so held down by how things typically are. It's just how she wants to play. And I think that people like the newbies have pushed this season forward in directions that we typically would not see gameplay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very, very fucking impressed with this cast. But I mean, every round has felt fresh and has always taken a stark turn. Like, I thought Preston was dead in the once he announced a Madison HOH, I was like, oh, Preston's dead in the water. There's no chance he survives this. It's over. Like, very much I was like, where is it? Well, it's over, and here we are with Preston surviving, and now in a final 3 with Foser and Lauren up against Michael and Madison. Madison's outgoing, Michael in a must win or go home, because I think Lauren is done. I don't think she has any more apologies. I don't think she has any more patience. I think she is very much like, you know what, I made a promise to you, but you know what, damn it, I'm done. Damn it, I've gone through enough, and I'm done arguing and fighting. And I think she's ready to have someone take the shot at him at 5, so she can slither her way into the final 4. I'm excited to see where this goes, because again, you have, you know, comp threat Foser. You've got Lauren, who has such a huge fan base in the jury, but I'm not sure people are like dying to evict her. Michael, who's public enemy number 1, Madison, who's tethered to him by proxy, Preston, who is deemed to be a threat inside the game, but not a threat outside of, you know, out in the jury house. We've got such interesting dynamics that create such an interesting chessboard.
This is so true. How did this happen?
Yeah.
Like, they both really just pushed Lauren away, and like
to get what they wanted,
right.
to ultimately get what they agreed to. Yes, Michael would have preferred Preston, but guess what? Like, you're not the you did not win. You didn't, and guess what? You get to make it another round. It's not like Preston's winning challenges left and right.
That's why I'm saying, like, Michael doesn't get to be choosy when he's in this position, because he's, first of all, he doesn't touch the block at final 5, and Lauren is over here like working to make sure that you're safe if she uses this veto, and it's just like you got to pick your battles.
Yeah, it's not the one to pick. It's not the one to pick. So stick with us. We'll have the schedule's weird, so work with us here. I think tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we'll have the live HOH. we'll do another Thursday noms veto eviction to get to our final four. And then I think we're running the entire final four round between Thursday night and Friday. So Thursday night, live HOH. Friday, we'll do the rest of the proceedings. It might change a little bit because this cast is, all over the map between Lauren and Madison, who are on the East Coast and don't like to stay up too late, versus Michael, who doesn't get home until like 9-10 p.m. Eastern. So we'll figure it out. But what I can tell you for sure is we crown a winner in 5 days. Sunday night, starting at 9, I believe, is our goal. Starting at 9 o'clock, we will kick off with part 3 of the final HOH, crown our final HOH of the season, who will have the sole vote to evict the final juror, and we'll crown a winner. So in 5 days, we'll have a winner. It will be either Preston, Foser, Lauren, Michael, or Madison. I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't.
Who are you hoping for final 2?
I would love to see Foser and Lauren for the sole fact of it'd be the best fight. I think it could honestly end 5-4 either way. I really don't think either has it locked up in one direction. I would just love their storyline to be like Lauren gave Foser grace when he had his power outage. Foser then makes amends in the middle part of the game, still nominating her, and then they come together here at post live night and kind of run the show. I'd love to see that. I'd also love for Madison to have her moment. I feel like the jury is finally starting to come slightly around on her. They've been very low on her, and I feel like this round they finally we're like, you know what? Maybe there's some substance here that we're kind of writing off. So I'd love for Madison to have her moment, to be able to at least sell her game, even if she doesn't win, to at least be able to sell her game, because there is a lot to be said, even though do I think it's a winning game? Probably not. But she still has stuff to be said, and I think she could still turn some heads.
Yeah.
I'd love for that. I'd love for Preston to have the ability, because Preston has never made it past 11th in an org before, and it's the farthest he's gone by lengths and miles. I'd love for Michael to have his chance as well, because everyone has been saying left and right, he has to go, and yet he's still here. So I'd love for him to have that kind of cockroach arc, and to be able at the end of the day to be and I made it to the final 2, and what about it? I'd love to see all of them at the end. Yeah. I think Foser and Lauren is my ideal final 2.
I think the exciting thing about this 5 is that there is no person in this 5 that can win without you acknowledging that they had to do some work to earn it, and that they are deserving of it. I am excited about the idea of having Preston or Madison in the final 3 at least, because I think it would be so nice to hear the jury even be able to talk about their games ahead of the finale and really give them their roses. But I'd say that probably about all of these 5. I think it's so exciting to hear the jury really starting to come together. I think from what we're seeing in the jury, I think that I wouldn't say that they're controlling it, but I think that Ashley and Karthik are really steering a lot of the conversations just because they are the most around. And I think that people are latching on to the points they're making. I think Ashley and Karthik have really been very good jurors that are analyzing everything very openly. I would not have expected Karthik to be the most open and ready to listen to anyone's game kind of juror necessarily, but he really is. And that's really exciting.
I'm excited. I have nothing else to share. I'm not sure if y'all have anything else left to share, but the end game is up for grabs. It really is. It always comes down to the comp wins, but it feels even more so than ever, because I don't know who's going to take who at the end. I don't know how Madison now views Lauren. Michael's clearly taking Madison, but where does Madison stand on this? Who's Foser taking to the end? Is Preston taking more? I don't know who these people are taking, which is so abnormal at this part of the game.
Shift of sides again at final 5. How often does that happen?
And where a middle becomes a side and a side becomes the middle.
Yeah, right. I don't know who people are Usually at this point, I can be these people are ride or dies. They're going to the end together. I don't know who. Besides Michael taking Madison, I don't know who's taking who.
And
which is
because all of
wild.
the duos have been split up back to back to back to back, that's left a lot of singles in the game trying to like singles on Valentine's Days.
Oh my god, look at
Yeah.
us.
But
Just-
I do think, and the groundwork has already been laid. I think splitting up Madison and Michael really is the next thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think
Agree.
it's the only thing that could really be the undoing for Madison is if Michael escapes the block, and it's more important to separate the duo of them versus taking out a power player. So I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of talk about this, and so I'm curious before we go. But where do you think? Because you both have been on prod for Max a bit longer, but both of you have been on prod for a while. Where does this stack up in relation to the other seasons that you have been on prod for?
It's high. It's high for me. I always need to take a moment to take a step back and reflect. And again, like I remember really loving 13 in the moment, and like now looking back on 13, I'm still high on 13, but it's not my favorite season. As I now look back on 17, I don't think I love it as much as I love 18 in the moment. But obviously, give me a few months to like savor it. Obviously, it comes down to who wins. A great winner that narrates the season's important to me. So like I still need that to happen. But 18 right now, I am very high on. Very, very, very high on.
I think I'm generally biased towards the season that I'm hosting right now, just because it's happening. It's fresh in my mind. I really did enjoy 14 a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's up there for me. Like, and I really enjoyed the characters in 16 so much. Like, and there's also the question of like, how will these stack up in episodes when they're made? Because I haven't really been keeping up with a ton of confessionals from this season, but something tells me that they're not as prolific as they have been in past seasons.
Yeah,
So
that's also
a lot of it in the edited product, but real time, it has been just the most befuddling season. I think I can confidently say that it has been the most what the fuck season of the entire series.
Which I think was the goal coming in. I mean, we literally started the season with the carousel chaos. So we came in asking for chaos.
And we got it.
But I do think, to your point, Max, I think that's what is so exciting about this cast that's left is all 5 of them have unique perspectives in narrating this season. Sure, some of them had like peaks and valleys and maybe emerged later as main characters or just characters, but I think that each of them have such a unique, like no one in this final 5 is insignificant to the game or the season, and I think that that's truly impressive.
And no 2 of them, I think, have played the same game.
At this point, no.
Because I feel like you could have said that Gabby and Preston kind of played the most similar games, but now that Gabby's gone, like all 5 of them are so different. And whatever final 2 we end up with, there will be a stark contrast. So
yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. As I said, I mean, I think Stoke tried to give me shit for it when I said there were 5 interesting games left to be played. And Gabby and Preston were the same game. And that's what I was trying to refer to, was like, there are 5 arcs here. And now with Gabby gone, there are still 5 amazing arcs that honestly are all deserving of being rewarded and all value different things. That's going to come down to the day. What is the jury value? What are they going to value? Because this is an open jury. Like, while yes, they favor Foser and Lauren as of right now, who knows? Finale night in BBH has always shown that it does not matter what you say you value coming in, because it might be not what you value coming out of it. So I am so excited for the season. I cannot wait to crown a winner in 5 days. I'll be back and probably on Saturday to recap how we got from our final 5 to our final 3. And then sometime this weekend, we might eventually, we've talked about doing this like winner's arc and like walk through the stories of the final 3. Maybe we'll finally fucking do it. I don't fucking know. Who knows? We'll see what we end up doing. But we'll have some content this weekend. We'll also keep you fed with live competitions as always, but stick with us because we're booting 2 people between now and Friday evening, and then we'll crown a winner in 5 days. So for me, for Max Teddy, for Lee Farrell, we're peacing on out. I'll catch y'all in 3 days, but I'll be in the Discord with y'all as always. But Bye, everyone. Have a great night. That's all I have to
Bye.
say. Bye.